is going on, guys? It's the Mad Dragon. So the Lions test is slowly getting closer, and today isn't going to be so much talking about the Lions but more the opponents. That is right, the Boks are back in town. They have finally managed to get a team together. It is a 46-man squad, which is a huge squad. Of course, this won't be the team that will be going on to play the Lions. They have got a couple of games coming up, and then throughout those games they'll be doing a bit of switching up, a couple of players mixed around, and they are going to be condensing that team to then be announcing who will be officially playing the Lions. But I thought it'd be a fun video to do. We'll go on and have a look at the actual South African team announced, and it is a big team. They have not messed around with this, so for anyone not catching up on the Southern Hemisphere rugby, as I struggle to keep up with some of the South African rugby, so they have not actually played a game as a South African international since that World Cup win in 2019. Now that is insane. They have got a lot of time out of the international rugby scene. Of course, most of the players will have been playing at club level. Some of them play in France, some of them play in England, some of them are now in the Pro 14s. So a lot of them have still had game time and actually playing the rugby. And having looked at this team, there is pretty much every available World Cup winning South African player is in this team. It is outstanding how many have carried on. I think they're missing about 4 players through injury, including the Beast. There will be no Beast, unfortunately, going into this tournament. For anyone who's watched the channel for long enough, you'll know I am not the most knowledgeable on a lot of the Southern Hemisphere international rugby that goes on. I do try and keep up as much as I can. I know a little bit about the New Zealand, especially at club level and stuff, because I managed to watch Super Rugby Aotearoa. But South Africa is where my knowledge is going to get a little bit iffy. So this is where we'll be able to learn together. This is a bit of fun on the channel where basically, for those of you who don't know a lot about rugby, we get to learn together. It's not just me telling you about rugby. Let's learn away. So I'm probably not going to go through the whole team. I'll put them up on screen for you guys somewhere over here so that you can actually have a look at who's actually named in the team. But a couple of key names going through here. I mean, the forwards are just absolutely massive. One of the surprising things in this team is there are actually a couple of uncapped players, so they're not messing about. They're not using this as just a way to try and show off. They're not going to come in, storm everyone, hopefully going against the Lions and just smash their way through. They are using this as a training exercise as well. They're going to help blood a couple of new players that are going to come in. So having a look at the team, there are certainly some massive names coming here, including a couple that most people will probably know if you followed a bit of international rugby, if you saw some of the World Cup. People like Eben Etzebeth is going to be in there in the lock department. Is he still playing in Japan? I actually don't know where he's playing to now. A big unit of a man. He's going to be doing well. UD Liega, Malcolm Marks is going to be coming in there. You know, there's some big people here in all honesty. Peter Steph du Toit, who of course most people remember from playing in the South African team. Sia Khaleesi coming in, the man who allowed that South African team to get into that World Cup winning situation and fully deserved there to be lifting that cup. There are some big here. Dwayne Vermeulen is in the team as well. It is just enormous. They've got a couple of utility forwards in there. They are not messing about. It's going to be really interesting to see how they get on. In terms of the backs, Faf de Klerk will be a man that most people will know in the international rugby scene, especially if you watch a couple of club level games. In fact, he just performs high all around the board. Cobus Reinach, of course, was going in there. There's a couple of big names here just across the board, in all honesty. In terms of the fly halves, Elton Yantees, Andre Pollard, Mornay Steyn. How old is Mornay Steyn? I can't believe Mornay Steyn is still going in this South African team. There are some big names in here. They really aren't messing about. The skill level as well in a couple of these players is really beginning to shine through. Into the centres, Damien Dialende plays, of course, at Munster. He's been playing very well. He's looking very dangerous at this point. Jesse Creel's coming in there. Fran Steyn's still in this international team. I don't know how old some of these players are, but there are an awful lot of players in this team that have a good number of caps backing them, a lot of experience on that international stadium, and of course involved in that World Cup winning team. They're going to be massive. Moving further back into that back three, of course there'll be big names. The England supporters watching will of course know of Cheslin Colby, the man who got that fantastic try in that World Cup, dancing around players. He is a nightmare to stop. It's going to be really interesting to see who's going to be able to shut down Cheslin Colby. I wonder whether or not they might even put Zammit on his wing just to try and keep up with the pace. Will they go down the whole sort of Duan van der Merwe route, trying to get a big guy on a small guy? Duan van der Merwe's defence certainly lacking a little bit in the France game particularly, but not terrible across the board. So hopefully if he can work on that a little bit, might be able to shut down Colby a little bit. Willie Leroux, of course, a very versatile player. He plays a lot of areas in the pitch. Normally, for me, when I immediately see his name, it jumps out as a fullback. He can move to the wing if he needs to, but he would probably be in there as a fullback. Mapimpi, of course, the experience he had in that World Cup was very, very dangerous. Did he even get top try scorer in the tournament? I don't think he did, but I think he played very well. He got a number of tries in that World Cup. Nkosi, of course, also rapid. I mean, one thing that these South African teams certainly bring is speed or power. The forwards are all about just smashing people. They're all big lads. They're all 6'3", 6'4", smashing through players. And then as soon as you move on to the wing, the speed of some of their wingers and the fullbacks is enormous. But yeah, they have also gone for 7 uncapped players in this team. So there's a couple of people who I won't know in here. Penks and Speckman are not players I know, and Afeleli Fassi. Unfortunately, I am going to butcher names. I'm awfully sorry to anyone from South Africa watching. I'm not the best at names of players I do know, let alone players I'm not that familiar with. So South Africa will be condensing this 46-man team down. You can't have 46 men going against 37 men in the Lions team. They will, of course, be narrowing this down. So they've got 2 tests that are going to be coming up against Georgia. Now, that is a tough set of players to be going up against Georgia. I'm sure South Africa will be looking for 2 wins from 2 there. Georgia did struggle in that Autumn Nations Cup. They certainly were able to hold up pretty well against the forwards pack. But against South Africa, especially the way South Africa like to split up their bench, South Africa like to load a bench with forwards players in order to just sort of ram home, keep the mauls going, the scrums going, the line-out mauls. They're big on their forward players. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get to see that split on the bench, favouring the forwards, going up against Georgia, who love their forwards too. See if they can outmuscle them, and maybe sort of do what we got to see the teams in the Autumn Nations Cup do, where basically they load up on forwards, they wait till Georgia get tired, and as soon as that game begins to open up, that's where players like Colby, Mapimpi, and Nkosi, those guys will just be able to just start tearing it apart. So 2 games against them, one on the 2nd and one on the 9th of July. Hopefully we get to see that in the Northern Hemisphere. Hopefully that's not going to be a Southern Hemisphere based thing. Hopefully that is televised. Not sure what time that will be on. I haven't heard any news about when it will actually be coming on. But then of course they will go on to play against the Lions on the 14th of July. So, you know, maybe some injuries help weaken that South African team a bit if you're a Lions supporter, but it will be interesting to see how they get on. It's a big team, South Africa not messing around. I'm sure we'll see a couple of those uncapped players playing against Georgia, trying to keep a few of them spare, get a bit of game time going, gel that international team together once again since 2019 and take on the Lions. I think it's going to be super awesome to see. So if you guys make sure that you drop this video a like if you have enjoyed, and make sure you subscribe to the channel just to keep up to date with all the latest Lions news as it comes out. I hope you've all enjoyed today, guys. I will see you next time. Bye bye.